Well, hey folks, we're going to do some game design. We're going to work on martial powers, updating the 2014 Paladins to the 2024 martial power system, and we're also, assuming time allows, work on the 2014 wizard subclasses that have not been updated for 2024 mechanics either, using the color mana spell point variant rule system that we have published on DMsGuild. So give me a moment here to check my signal. I choked on some fish earlier today. I would have been on earlier, but it took me like a good 40 minutes for me to clear the crap out. There's going to be a little bit of glurf left in my throat. So my apologies in advance for any that I'm going to have to perform over the course of today's episode. But dying was not on my list of things to do today. So I'm happy to have overcome that challenge. There it is. Hey, let me go through a quick intro here to distract you guys while I press all the social media buttons that most people click when they have a countdown song happening on their live stream intro. But I'm not that sophisticated, so let me instead say, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online. And I'm creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast since 1994. And in 2018, when after Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica published, I think it was in 2016, it took about a year or so for us to develop the color mana mechanics, but the 5 color mana spell point variant rules are designed to replace the Vancian spell magic system and the 8 schools of magic from typical D&D campaigns, and instead use the 5 color mana spell point variant rules, which is an intuitive upgrade from the clumsy spell point system that was presented in like half a page in 2014's DMG as a variant rule that they, in my opinion, I think they made it in like difficult on purpose so people wouldn't ask, why aren't we just using spell points, because so many new people were coming into the 5e game. Why would they want to be on board with Vancian magic when you could just have a pot of mana to spend on spells? Well, spending mana is more takes more design considerations than spell slots, so it was easier to stick with what they already knew. Personal opinion, I think spell points are great as long as you take into account the balancing factors of being able to cast more spells more often. You have to balance that out with more risks, which is the variant concentration and the simplified duration mechanics that we have in the color mana system. So, excuse me. Plus the restriction of having each spell assigned to a color, and having your points of mana assigned to a color, and having to have the color of spell that you want to cast be in your mana pool to power that spell. So there's a lot of fun, heavier, techy, sort of like turn dials, pull lever mechanics that can exist inside the 5e game engine that we're exploiting and improving upon to create a different type of magical system than the spell slots from the 8 schools of magic. The martial power system is a natural expansion off of the color mana system, because the color mana system converts the 7 spellcasters into mana characters using color as a representation of their mechanics and their characters, philosophies, etc. But the marshals didn't get anything. So we had to build out an entire new mana system for all the marshals to utilize, so that all 13 classes in an MTG game, a Magic the Gathering game, could all build themselves around color philosophy, and then have their mana pool reflect those philosophies with the colors that you choose to cast with, and then the spell and power selection that you have within those colors, or by researching or paying to pull extra spells outside of your natural colors into that palette, helps define what kind of a character it has, so the mechanics of the game are actually reflecting the attitudes and the philosophies and the philosophical approach that your characters take to the world that they're inside of, and the situations that arise during your adventures. So I just think it's a much more tightly knit model to have the color philosophy stacking on top of color mechanics to help define your character in these worlds. So I believe that's the direction that Wizards could really go in to define themselves as, even though they created 5e, they're kind of the white bread of 5e, because it's the carrier. It's carrying the entire engine through whatever it is that WotC publishes. But there's so many third parties that have taken neat ideas about 5e and developed really rich narrative and game environments and game systems from that 5e game engine. 5e kind of gets shat on because it's supposed to be generic, but they haven't really taken anything from that game engine and really said, here's what you can really do with this machine. And I think they've let other people do that, so they're not really taking the lead in design anymore on their own game engine. So I personally believe that the 5e game mechanic plus Magic the Gathering as an IP is an amazing blend. I think it would help support both the card as well as the role-playing game industry to be able to bridge that gap more successfully. I think it would be great to have the Wizard on the teams, the Wizards of the Coast team, go design up when they're designing card sets and when they're designing D&D books, so that both of them retain logic with each other, so that your world's most popular role-playing game and the world's most popular trading card game could actually synchronize and build each other's IPs together. For some reason, I think it's because all the people that make decisions at the Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro don't play D&D or Magic the Gathering. I just don't think they see it. So they're not willing to invest the resources in R&D. Who knows? But that's my philosophies. So we're going to build on that. I've put in the footwork over the number of years. Like I said, I started doing this in 2018, and I'm still developing mana books today. It is absolutely my favorite thing to do in game design. I love the 5e game engine. So if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. Let's see, the full playlist of like Spellpoint Sorcerers, Color Magic Design, as well as the Martial Powers playlist. These are here. Here's the Martial Powers document we're going to use. We'll click through on that in a second. My Discord community where we do playtesting for all these mechanics. Jump in, free of use. Here's all the book. Here's a number of different books that I've created on the DMs Guild. A lot more I've collaborated on, but these are the ones, for the most part, that except for the Subclasses Revivified, these are all books I published, and or bundles of books I've published, and they're all free preview. You can read them cover to cover. Run a campaign through. Buy the book if you think it adds value to your game. God bless you if you do. Buying a book encourages me to make more of those books. Like the Spelljammer Combat and Exploration book currently is on its way to reaching gold. The Spellpoint Spellpoint Warlocks, even though it's pay what you want, also gained gold status. Has the Color Mana Spellpoint variant rules. The core mechanics also just went gold with the Knights and Tricksters. Not far behind. Universal Spell Points is just as a consolidated spell point system, devoid of any kind of magic engine associated with it. That's almost gold status now as well. So people have been buying it, and God bless you for doing so. So like I said, here's the document that we're playtesting with. This is 100% free preview. It's still the alpha draft model. It's a living document. I keep updating it after our playtest sessions that are on Saturday mornings. We're running a mega dungeon right now from level 3 to 10, where there's a high population of monsters to grind through so that the characters have a lot of opportunities to utilize their mana pool to pop off all these different martial powers. Very similar to if you know 3rd edition. This is very much the Book of Nine Swords. There's a lot of flavor coming off of the powers that martial characters got in 4th edition, and there's a mutants and masterminds vibe to it as well, utilizing a lot of mechanical language that you might be familiar from MTG if you're a crossover fan. So using the half casting scaffold that the Paladins use. We're going to continue working on Paladins today. So we've built out the full game system, like how powers work, the list of 170 powers overall that exist in the game right now that we're testing. These are all up front, and then after that, we start breaking down get through all of the powers, all the stuff you can do, get through all of that stuff. And okay, great, martial power characters. So we've already rebuilt the Barbarian 2024 to be completely mana compliant. The changes that we have to make to the character scaffold to make it go, and then all of the paths, Barbarian paths in the 2024 Player's Handbook, plus the Forsaken paths that have not yet appeared, that were in 2014 that haven't had a rebuild yet. I'm going to leave all these Forsaken subclasses out of the initial book because WotC's eventually going to feed in more of these subclasses, and as they feed them in, we can translate them and see how accurate our predictions are about how those translations will make sense. Well, we've gotten through all of the Barbarian. We've gotten through all of the Fighter. We've gotten through all of the Monk. I'm scrolling through all of that, and so these all go from level 1 to 20. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 270 hours. I've done 4 campaigns from level 1 to 20 in the 5e game engine since 2015 till present. My last 20th level campaign wrapped up last year, and I'm currently running an Eberron Spelljammer campaign where where the players control an asteroid belt mining operation with warforged gnomes and dwarves piloting mecha and Gundams and hauler ships fighting giant space monsters and all sorts of crazy crap. That's been a really fun campaign, utilizing some of the Bastion mechanics that we've been developing on stream. Typically on Mondays and Thursday nights, but last week we finished the draft, the first draft of the Bastion campaign. It needs examples and a lot of flesh, like a lot of connective tissue for writing to make it all stitched together properly. But that's part of the process, and that's not where we're at with the book right now. What I have to do is we've done the 2024 subclasses for the Paladin, and we're currently working our way through the Forsaken oaths that have not yet been translated from 2014 to 2024, taking our best guess on how these things will look and how we then have to further modify them to function properly using the mana system and the power system that we've created. I think we've done a really good job duplicating it so far. I'm really liking how Paladins feel in game. They're stronger and better at smiting, and they got really good heal. They're a mana battery. They can convert lay on hands into healing mana as well as hit points. So they got some really cool options that are going for them, and we've been specifically rebuilding the subclasses so that they're utilizing Channel Divinity and your Aura of Protection as the core features of the Paladin class that are modified by your subclasses. That's been a lot of fun. Kind of the same way that we've been using the Sorceress Rage thing as an anchor for subclass features in the Sorcerer classes that we've been rebuilding. But apparently this is where I'm supposed to continue. Oath of the Crown, Oath of the Watch. Oh, that's right. We got through doing the oath spells. So actually what I'll need to do then is I'm going to pluck this out as a separate document, and then we're going to go into D&D Beyond. I didn't know what to do tonight, but I wanted to stream. I love streaming design. It's a lot of fun. I do all my artwork in the morning, and then on evenings or lunchtimes, depending on what day of the week it is, I'll do a short or long design stream. This will be a longer stream tonight. I have the it's Monday night, so I've got a solid I've got 2.5 hours that I can. I'm going to set a timer actually to go off every 20 minutes. There we go. Having some chai tea. It's very tasty. Game rules, classes. That's where we want to be. And then we're going to go to the 2014 Bard Paladin. Thank you. So I do artwork in the morning. I do game design at night. When I'm not on screen, if I'm doing off screen, my priorities are typically page layouts writing, and art in that order. And currently, the Eberron adventure that I've been doing artwork for in the mornings, it's done with its layouts. It's done with all its design. The only thing that's left for that is artwork. So when I'm not on screen, I'm doing artwork. When I'm on screen in the morning, I'm doing artwork, and that's all for the Eberron adventure. Once that publishes, then we get to start focusing on the Bashing campaign, Martial Powers, and the Color Mana system. Those are the 3 major projects that are of most importance to me right now. So, but I think tomorrow, honestly tomorrow, I think I'll be squeezing in another look at the Spelljammer subclasses that we've been designing to use with the Spelljammer variant rules that we created. Yeah, so let's get back to work. Let's see where we at. Oath of the Crown. Let's see how that goes. We don't have that up here already, right? Ancients. Devotion. Okay, Crown it is. I better. I wanna fetch some of this stuff. Because that scaffold is going to be useful. I'm going to want to drop it down in here. So let's get down to our Forsakens. Let's see, there's the Oathbreaker. We got Oathbreaker, Oath of the Watchers, Oath of the Crown. And we already did Oath of Redemption and Oath of Conquest. So those are resolved. So let's keep Crown, Watchers, and Oathbreaker. Oh, we only got 3. Okay, so once we get done with these 3, then we get to switch gears and start looking at the Forsaken subclasses for the Wizard. We've already updated the core class feature, the core classes for Wizard. But from a color perspective, so it's not like the School of Illusion, School of Enchantment, School of Necromancy. That it's the white, blue, black, red, green wizards. The 5 colors instead of the 8 schools. So instead of having 4 of the 8 schools in the 2024 Player's Handbook, we'll be providing all 5 of the color mana variants for the Wizard. So we've gotten through those. Now there's a whole bunch of subclasses like the War Wizard, Blade Singer, yada yada that we haven't translated yet that I'm looking forward to doing. So let's get through these things in order, and we'll hopefully have time to get to that too. So let's go to Oath of the Crown. We already updated our spells, right? Yes, we did. Channel Divinity. Let's see. So sometimes you get 1 Channel Divinity feature. Sometimes you get 2. Like the Oath of Glory had both Peerless Athlete, which has been a Channel Divinity. You get an hour of advantage on strength and dexterity jumps. Checks, and your jumping speed is always treated as running, even if you don't. And then Inspiring Smite. Whenever you sacrifice your bonus action to use the Divine Smite feature, you can expend a use of Channel Divinity to distribute temporary hit points to creatures of your choice within 30 feet of yourself, which can include you. The total number of temporary hit points equal the result of 2 power dice rolled plus your Paladin level divided among the chosen creatures however you like. So there's 2 instances at 3rd level of Channel Divinity features. 7th level, we add to the Aura of Protection. At 15th level, we're generally going to modify a Channel Divinity feature here. And then at 20th level, we have our Transformation. So that's the general scaffold of how this thing works. So let's see what kind of cool stuff we're looking at. I'm going to crack open a notepad here so I can cut and paste text from here. This one's called Exalted Champion. So hey Steve, how you doing? Friend of the channel, Steve. What is going on, my guy? 20th level, your presence in the field of battle is an inspiration, dedication. You can use your action to gain the following benefits for 1 hour. Is that consistent? You become an avatar of peace, which gives you 2 benefits. That's permanent, so that doesn't count. As a bonus action, you can magically become an avatar of conquest, gaining the following benefits for either 1 or 10 minutes, depending on how it goes. You can use your bonus action You can use your bonus action to gain the following benefits for 1 hour. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Period. Your allies have advantage on death saving throws while within 30 feet of you. While within your aura of protection. There. You have advantage on wisdom saving throws, as do your allies within your aura of protection. Period. If you want to give that state die, once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, or you expend 5 mana. No action required. 1 hour. Nothing here is impressing me. I feel like I want to make this just permanent. You become an avatar of peace, which gives you benefits, which remain active unless you are incapacitated. I feel like this is actually a better way of doing this, because the stuff that you're getting is like shit that like a barbarian gets or a monk gets by either 1st level or 11th level. This is some weak fucking sauce. So I think I just want to turn that on and just leave it on forever. So let's drop that language in. Yeah, I think that's totes fair. What's going on? Oh, right on, man. Unyielding spirit. Starting at 15th level, you have advantage on saving throws to avoid becoming... Jesus, fuck. Okay. Unyielding spirit, is that right? You have advantage on saving throws to avoid becoming paralyzed or stunned. Let's kick this up. And when you expend 10 hit points from your lay on hands pool, you can remove these conditions from a creature as a bonus action as well. Yeah, I like that. That now feels more like a thorough feature, because you don't get like shit for upgrades after 4th level. Let me verify that. Actually, before I talk too much shit, let's make sure my shit's clean. Maybe it should be worth 15 points. Blessed Touch, Healing Wounds. Bonus action, you can touch creature. Hit points, Healing Pool, remove the poison condition from the creature. These points don't also restore hit points to that creature. Prepared powers, changing prepared powers, fighter, weapon mastery, fighting style, Paladin Smite, Channel Divinity. Paladin subclass, extra attack, faithful steed, aura of protection. The creature can benefit from only one war aura at a time. And a bonus of abjure foes. As a presence of holy symbol, you can target a number of level 9 number of creatures equals your charisma modifier. 1 minute shaken, aura of courage, immunity to the frightened condition while in your aura of protection. If a frightened ally enters the aura, that condition has no effect on an ally while there. Radiant Strike deals an extra D8. 14 restoring touch. Oh, it already gets resolved. You can use lay on hands on a creature. You can also remove one or more of the following conditions from the creature: blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, and stunned are there. You must expend 5 hit points from the healing pool and lay on hands for each of these conditions to remove. Those points don't also... Okay, well, that was irrelevant, so I don't need that. Let's see. As do any allies within your aura of protection. Does aura protection get bigger? Or expansion, level 18. It expands out to 18 feet. And then at level 20, we can start using aura language because those also have a 30-foot reach. So let's go back through and make sure we're consistent with our aura language. Let's see. It was bonus action, max return. When you take, you have resistance. This one's you have resistance to all damage, but it only lasts for 1 minute. Your weapon attack scores a critical hit. Attack roll. Okay, that doesn't do anything for allies. Let's see. Frightful aura. Enter your aura protection. You get dinged. Enemies in my aura. As a bonus action, you imbue your aura protection with primal power. Yeah. Casting time of 1 action. Bonus action instead. Nature's Wrath. Get past that. As a bonus action, you benefit for 10 minutes. Once you use this feature, Bloody Block. Charismatic. You're blessed with otherworldly presence. Failed saving throw. Once in each of your turn when you make an attack. Okay, that doesn't affect your allies. Holy Nimbus. As a bonus action, you can be your aura protection. Holy Ward. When an enemy starts its turn in the aura is filled with... Okay, great. Okay, we're on task. You become an avatar of peace. And you have advantage on wisdom saving throws, as do your allies within your aura of protection. Yeah, I'm okay with it because it's permanent. That's cool. 15, you have advantage on all saving throws to avoid becoming paralyzed and poisoned, as do any allies within your aura of protection. Unyielding Spirit. Actually, you know what? Let's expand on that list, shall we? You and any allies within your aura of protection. There. That's actually a really good feature now. I'm actually really happy with that. All the shit you can do at 14th level, because this is perfect, because this clicks in at 14th level, the Restoring Touch, and then giving everyone a resistance, giving everyone advantage to avoid those effects in the future while within your aura is a great fucking feature. If you're gonna play level 20, that would honestly be arguably something I would take, because as the CR ratchets up on your characters, the likelihood of running across some stuff that's going to regularly disperse these or confer these conditions onto your characters continues to increase. So it actually becomes really valuable to have a means of being able to resist that stuff. Let's keep winding our way back. Divine Allegiance. When a creature within 5 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to magically substitute your own health for that of the target creature, causing that creature not to take the damage. Instead, you take the damage. This is Oath of the Crown that we're in, right? Just to verify. Yeah, Oath of the Crown. I feel like I've seen this feature before. Yeah, Aura of the Guardian. It's the same thing. Oath of Redemption, you're ganking my shit. Let's check Oath of Redemption real quick to make sure I didn't actually grab the wrong one, because that could have happened. Oath of Redemption. There it is. Or of the Guardian. It's like it's the same thing. This is Oath of the Ancient. Vengeance. Ancients. So where was the contest? It was Conquest was good. Redemption. Am I going mad? I feel like I'm going mad. Hold on. Yeah, Oath of Redemption. Or of the Guardian. Thank you. Now let's kick on down to the crown. Kick on down to the crown. Shamachuba. I'm going to create some space. When a creature within 10 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to magically take that damage. When a creature within 5 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to magically substitute your own health for that of the target creature. causing that creature not to take the damage. Instead, you take the damage. Instead of that creature taking it, it's the same thing. You've just worded it poorly in both instances. This feature doesn't transfer any other effects. This damage can't be reduced or prevented in any way. This can't be damage reduced in any way. My brain's melting. Over the crown. Let's go to redemption again. Within your aura of protection takes damage. That's such a great improvement. Creature within 5 feet takes damage. Why is that? Oh, I'm angry that they just had the same goddamn effect. Very, very angry about that. Oath of the Ground. Oath spells. Oath of the Ancients. Oath of the Crown. There we are, back on point. 5 years to damage. You can use your reaction to magically causing that creature not to take damage. Instead, you take the damage. This damage can't be reduced. God, that's just that's infuriating to me. God, what can I do different? Within your aura of protection takes damage. You can use your reaction to magically substitute your own health. I think I just opened that up to just take damage as much as you want, buddy. This feature doesn't transfer any other effects that might accompany the damage, and this damage can't be reduced in any way. What is it? What is it about? Why is this? Why is defending somebody divine allegiance? Oath of the Crown. Let's make it different. Divine. Let's do it different. Let's do it this way. Let's make Aura of the Guardian be somebody specific with a reaction, but you can reduce the damage taken. Three is correct. And so for Divine Allegiance, we're just going to make it everybody gets protected. There's no limit. But you can't reduce the damage, but you can soak up as much damage as you want. It's different. Yeah, it's different. It's different now. There you go. I feel like Warding Bond should be. I feel like that's a miss. Anyway, I'm gonna let it go. So that takes care of Divine Allegiance. Too strong, maybe. When a creature within your aura of protection takes damage, you can choose to take that damage instead of that creature taking it. This feature doesn't transfer to any other effects that might accompany the damage, and this damage can't be reduced in any way. Hold on. I'm thinking about Lay on Hands. Lay on Hands is a hit point pool. I was about to say, what if the amount of damage that you can take is equal to the amount of hit points that are in your Lay on Hands pool, but then that would mean that for you to get the benefit, you can't use Lay on Hands while no one else has a restriction like that. So that's bad game design. Neat idea, bad design. It's not only is it depriving you of a feature, it's laying on a condition, a limitation that no one else has. So it's not aligned properly. A creature within your aura of protection takes damage. You can choose to take that damage instead of that creature taking it. That might accompany the damage, and this damage can't be reduced in any way. I'm good with that. I'm good with it. I can let it go. Let's look at our thirds. Cool. Okay. Turn the Tide. As a bonus action, you can bolster injured creatures with your channel divinity. Each creature of your choice that you can hear within 30 feet of you regains gains hit points equal to. Okay, I'm good with both of these. Champion Challenge. They have compelled duel already. Let's see how this turns out. Turn the Tide. It's like a non-bow with the compelled duel. I wonder. You issue a challenge that compels other creatures to do battle with you. Each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw on a failed save. A creature can't willingly move more than 30 feet away from you. This effect ends on a creature if you are incapacitated to die or if the creature is more than 30 feet away from you. As a bonus action, you can expend a use of your channel divinity feature to issue a challenge that compels other creatures to do battle with you. Each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, a creature can't willingly move more than 30 feet away from you. This effect ends on the creature if you are incapacitated or die, or if the creature is more than 30 feet away from you. At the beginning of its turn. There, okay, that makes sense. Turn the Tide. Yeah, I like that. I actually like that a lot. It actually kind of works in combination with Compelled Duel. Not perfectly, but it doesn't control. It doesn't make it a non-bow. It does a different thing. And then Turn the Tide as a bonus action. You can expend a use of your channel divinity feature, and keep in mind you can regain a use divinity feature. You regain all channel divinities when you finish a long rest. You get one channel divinity back when you finish a short rest. And with the mana mechanics, if you expend 2 points of mana, you can you can regain a channel divinity feature on the fly. So you could expend your entire mana pool on channel divinity features if you wanted to. And then you could burn down your Lay on Hands pool to get a number of mana back equal to your level, and then burn it down again. Then take a short rest, get a bunch of mana back, and burn it down again. You can do a shitload of channel divinities. As a bonus action, you can expend a use of your channel divinity feature to bolster injured creatures with your channel divinity. Each creature of your choice that can hear you within 30 feet of you regains hit points equals to D6 plus your channeling ability modifier. Minimum 1. It has no if it is bloodied. Cool. All right. Well, that resolved Oath of Crown. Pat on the back, and we move along. Nice. All right. Oath of the Watchers. I kind of like working backwards. This is kind of fun. Let's keep doing that. And we'll get to Oathbreaker. Foul, stinky Oathbreaker. We hates them with their broken oath. We hates them. Oath of the Watchers. Watching the oath. Alarm and detect magic. Checks out. We've done that. Okay. Channel divinity. I'm sure next power. Mortal Bulwark. That's a cool title. Hold on. Let's make sure this is actually. Huh. All right. Carry on. Mortal Bulwark. Mortal Bulwark. Mortal Bulwark. Mortal Bulwark. Beep, 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 beep. We'll copy paste that. And as a bonus action, you gain the following benefits for 1 minute. You gain True Sight with a range of 120 feet. Advantage on attack rolls against aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, and fiends that are within your aura of protection. When you hit a creature with an attack roll and deal damage to it, you can also force it to make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the creature is magically banished to its native plane of existence if it's not currently there. On a successful save, the creature can't be banished by this feature for 24 hours. Which uses bonus action. You can't use it again until you finish long rest unless you expend 5 mana to use it again. When you hit a creature, Jesus Christ, that's powerful. Okay. That is OP. That is very, very powerful. But it only lasts 1 minute, so I mean, it's probably reasonable. But god damn, that's strong. Vigilant Rebuke. Let's see what you're all about. Vigilant Rebuke. Tell me about your aura. Whenever you or a creature you can see within your aura succeeds in intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw, you can use your reaction To deal 2d8 plus your charisma modifier force damage to the creature that forced the saving throw. Whew, man, that ain't bad. Deal to deal force damage equal to the result of 2 power dice plus your channeling ability modifier minimum of 1 to the creature that forced the saving throw. I like that term, forced the saving throw. I think that's a cool term. 7. I'm good with that one, by the way. When you or any allies of your choice within your aura of protection roll initiative, you all gain a bonus to initiative equal to your proficiency bonus. Holy shit, that's good. Considering how much they've jacked up initiative modifiers in 2024, that's really good. Divine Vigilant Rebuke, Aura of the Sentinel. I like it. I like it a lot. Abjure the Exoplanar. Okay, I think both of these are going to work. Watchers will abjure the Exoplanar. Let's go with that first. And Watchers will. You know what? I've never really paid attention to the Oath of the Watchers, but there is massive Eberron gatekeeper vibes coming off of this Paladin. How fucking cool would that be? It's such a goddamn. This subclass is fantastic to work with the Watchers, or the gatekeepers. In Eberron, for those that don't know, the gatekeepers is a sect of druids that are in charge of protecting the world from extraplanar invasion by by minimizing the impact, if not outright avoiding planes colliding into cotermination where they cross realities, so that monsters from other dimensions can just step through the skein into Eberron and assault the world. This Paladin would work hand in hand with those druids, no problem. I love it. These guys would also be appropriate as zealots for the Church of the Silver Flame. Would also qualify really well. I think if the Gate Watchers didn't embrace so much black energy in their magics, that they and the Silver Flame would actually get along a lot better than they do. Personal opinion there. To me, the gatekeepers feel very Golgari, with probably a dash of blue in there. So black, blue, and green. Blue, black, green. That's probably the three colors that the gatekeepers would have. And then the Oath of the Watchers here probably would be white and green, while the Silver Flames are white and red. Very Boros vibe to them. But I like the white and green of the Watchers. White because of dimensional magic, protection, and warding. Green because of the natural mortal space. That's where the white green is coming from off of them. And then the Silver Flame, yeah, they're very Boros. So white and red just makes sense. It's in the title, for fuck's sake. So hey, what's up? You're working on Paladins? Yeah, working on Paladins right now. After we finish the Watcher, we only have the Oathbreaker, and then we're gonna work on 2014 subclasses for the Wizard. But yeah, I'm having a gas, and I'm just kind of geeking out over the Oath of the Watchers being so just hip to hip with the Eberron Gatekeepers. I love that vibe so much. So let's grab this up. Let's just get back to work. That's enough geeking out for now, Kearney. Walk it off, son, and get back to work. As an action, you present your holy symbol. As an action, you can expend a use of your Channel Divinity feature for each to force each aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, or fiend within 30 feet of you that can hear you to make a wisdom saving throw. On a fail, the creature is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage. Period. 1, 2, 3. A turned creature must spend its turn trying to move as far away from you as it can, and it can't willingly end its move in a space within 30 feet of you. For its action, it can only use the dash action or try to escape from an effect that prevents it from moving. If there's nowhere to move, the creature can take the dodge action, and then Watcher's Will. God, it's such a great feature. Just this subclass just screams, throw me at the Eldrazi. I will take them out. Love it. You can use your divinity to invest your presence with the word power of your faith. As an action, you can expend a use. You can expend a use of your Channel Divinity feature to choose a number of creatures you can see within 30 feet of you, up to a number equal to your channeling ability modifier. Minimum of 1. For 1 minute, you and the chosen creatures have advantage. Yeah, okay. Have advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. Holy shit, that's great. Okay, works for me. And that cleans up that subclass. That was freaking great. 1, 2, 3. I'm legitimately jazzed about Oath of the Watchers. That's actually really fucking cool. And Oathbreakers. Looks like we've already updated some of its flavor. Yeah, you gotta grab. And we get into the Rangers. So let's go grab all its bits. Here. And here. Okay, we'll start with this has been working for us, so let's work our way top to down. We'll go with okay. I was just observing that Oath of the Open Sea, which is a Exandria. Thank you. That's an Exandria subclass, and that it's out of alphabetical order at the end of the list. I never caught that nuance. I'm happy to see that. And goddamn, I am so thirsty. I'm getting a headache. Give me a second here. I need to grab some water. What's my favorite Paladin? You know, like I've been saying, man, I am now a huge fan of the Watcher. It's looking really fucking cool to me. Before it was the Paladin of Vengeance that I liked, just because Honestly, it's because I had one of my players played a 20 level, went from level 1 to 20 as a Paladin of Vengeance, and so I spent about 16 months with a Paladin of Vengeance at my table, and that is by far the most experience I've had with a Paladin to date, and I loved it. It was so until now, Paladin of Vengeance has been my go-to. Just as my, not necessarily that I would play one, but just my overall favorite. I like the theme of it. It's really fun. But the Oath of the Watchers, that is vibing so much more with where I am at as a DM with the campaigns that I'm running right now. I'm just gonna have to say Oath of the Watchers. Subject to change. Yeah, that's the one I dig the most right now. Oathbreaker, here we go. Let's grab our bits. Dreadlord, love it. I'm gonna update all the names first, then we'll go and we'll clip in everything else. Oathbreaker, the precursor to the Illrigger, supernatural resistance. Aura of Hate. I love that. Such great flavor. Dreadful aspect and control undead. Love that too. Dreadful aspect. And yeah, control undead. That's fucking awesome. Getting a real great vibe off this dude. Dreadlord, what do you do? What are you gonna do? Beep, beep, burp, barp, barp. Nope. As a bonus action, you can surround yourself. Let's see. As a bonus action, your Aura of Protection. Emanates an unnatural gloom that lasts 1 minute. The aura reduces any bright light around the paladin to dim light. Whenever an enemy that is frightened by the paladin starts its turn in the aura. 1, 2, 3. Whenever an enemy that is frightened by the paladin starts its turn in the aura, it takes 4d10 psychic damage. Additionally, the paladin creature he or she chooses in the aura are draped in deep shadow. Creatures that rely on sight have disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures draped in this shadow. While the aura lasts, the paladin can use a bonus action on his or her turn to cause the shadows in the aura to attack one creature. Okay, so whenever an enemy that is frightened by the paladin starts its turn in the aura, it takes damage. And you can use a bonus action to also attack. Paladin's channeling ability modifier, minimum of 1. Hey, what's up? Yeah, it's a really cool theme. Agreed. In that camp, it was an Eberron campaign as well, and the divine patron that the paladin was using to frame their oath around was the Oh God, I just had it. I just had her name. The Furies. Thank you, the Furies, which is a spirit of rage in Eberron, often related to berserkers and shifters, I believe. 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, okay, I'm good with that. Sure. See how it says you can assume the form of angelic avenger, but the Oathbreaker here is always referencing in third person. The Paladin targets, the Paladin channels. This wasn't intended for players. I like that. I like that subtle distinction. I think it's clever. There. Enjoy your bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage, buddy. I'm still having some remnant choking from that piece of fish I swallowed. Breathed. Don't breathe fish, folks. They aren't designed for it. Aura of hate. It's the aura of hate. Within your aura of protection. The Paladin, as well as any fiends or undead within 10 feet of you, gain a bonus melee weapon damage rolls equal to your charisma modifier. Creature can benefit from this feature from only one Paladin at a time. Let's do it this way. Let's not limit it. You and any creatures of your choice within the aura of protection gain a bonus to melee damage rolls equal to your channeling ability modifier, minimum of 1. 1 Paladin at a time. Working our way down. Copy. Paste, cut. Expanded the usage of Divinity 2. To force creatures within 30 feet of yourself to make a wisdom saving throw. Any number of creatures within 30 feet of yourself that can see you to make a wisdom saving throw. Period. On a failed save, the target is frightened of the paladin for 1 minute. If a creature frightened by this effect ends its turn within more than 30 feet away from the paladin, it can attempt another saving throw at the end of the effect on it. And that stacks with the damage because it's going to try to run away anyway. Control Undead, bring it on. Channel Divinity feature 2. Oops. 2, target one undead creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. Target one undead creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. The target must make a wisdom saving throw on a failed save. The target must obey the paladin's commands for the next 24 hours or until the paladin uses this channel divinity option again. An undead whose challenge rating is equal to or greater than the paladin's level is immune to this effect. I like it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that as is. There is the idea that you could stack concentration to sustain control over more undead. 1 equal to the rank of power that you've gained. So at 3rd, it'd be only 1. And then at 5th, it could be 2, 9, 13, 17 for a total of 5 undead under your control. That could be up to, at 17th level, CR 16, which is basically a cabal of liches following you around. That's awesome. But we're just going to leave it simple for now with a single. I don't need to overcomplicate the system until I get into the Book of Necromancers. And then I can embellish. But I probably wouldn't release that on DMsGuild. I'd probably just take a shitload of ideas and just break them up into little one-sheet PDFs and put them on my Patreon. That's what I love about building out all these systems. Once the full core mechanics of how this stuff works is published on DMsGuild, I can just go on to my Patreon like a Witherbloom Sedge Witch. I can make like a 1-page PDF using the color mechanics to build out a Sedge Witch subclass and show how you can bend it into the spellcasting system and into the power system. Like have 2 paths. Be the same class, be the same subclass, expressed differently for different subclasses, for different class features. Anyway, it'd be neat, like a Boros Swiftblade could either be like a kit for like a martial power character, like a barbarian, rogue, etc., or it could be a subclass for like wizards. So options there that I'm letting stir around and play around inside of my head, so that once these things get published and put out there, I can start switching gears into just building a shitload of stuff on Patreon. Like maybe something once a week, maybe. That'd give me a theme so I could build mechanics. Like build mechanics Monday night, work on class design. Mechanics on Monday night and Tuesday. And then like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings, I could build the cover art for the PDF and any incidental art inside of it. Monday, Tuesday, get the base design of the subclass built. And then Thursday and Friday stream, finalize those details, do the page layouts. And then like the next week, it's like for a 2-week burst, it would probably take me to do the artwork for that subclass. And once that's done, then I could publish it on the PDF on my Patreon and grab another one, so I could potentially kick out one every other week. And using that approach, not a bad idea. Kind of like it. Give me an opportunity to do a shitload of art for MTG stuff into D&D. It's gonna be a lot of fun. All right, Oathbreaker's done. We're done with Paladins. Cool. So now that the Paladins are all done, we can kick on down to... I'm going to grab. Forsaken Wizard. Oh, we're going to have to dance down this document. Probably kick on down to like 109 or something. Portable battle. Oh, we're still in the... Where are we at? Backgrounds, museum. Okay, so we're still just past the artificer. Here we go, full class. So here's the class rebuilding that we're doing for the 2024 color mana spell point variant rule conversion from upgrading from the tap and tap burn color mana spell point variant rules core mechanics. 2014 we're going to upgrade. We're going to update that document. We're going to rebrand it just as color mana mechanics or color mana core mechanics. Maybe core. I'm still figuring out the title, but I'm going to drop the tap on tap burn. Branding titles like that just doesn't. It was my first book. It was a neat idea to help build a theme around, like tap on tap burn elemental key. That made sense. Tap on tap burn martial powers. That kind of makes sense. But I'm moving further and further away from untapping. There's very little that we untap with now. When I originally built out the book, there was we could untap a lot of mana on a lot of different circumstances to keep recycling the pool. But as it went on, it was like, no, we should actually just give more mana and drop off, regaining and getting the mana back. So I should have renamed it then, but I was kind of sweet on the title, so I kept it and didn't end up not needing it. So, oh, this guy's looking pretty thin too. Looks like we're gonna have to come back through and work our way through the. Yeah, I only did minimum stuff for the bard here. Okay, great. So this is giving us an opportunity to patch in the rest of the bard. I did not realize I had not done that, so I can do that. Looks like I did minimums for the cleric as well. I believe the druid's looking pretty buff, but I think I only did the 2024 subclasses. Yeah. The sorcerer I completely rebuilt. Obviously, Spellpoint Sorcerer is going to be another supplement that we publish separately. So we did the core classes, and I think we've already done all the Forsaken classes as well. Yeah, Forsaken Sorcery. There you go. And color mana mechanics. Chunk. Hey, I see text. Give me a second. 1, 2, 3. What's up? How do you know if your changes are balanced? Well, as you saw, I'm mostly just pulling ideas. I'm trying to stay as true to the classes as they already exist. So if I can take a class feature that is still like when I'm converting stuff to a mana system or specifically the color mana system, I'm only making the changes necessary to jive with the mana instead of spell slots. So like if it would be like for example with the Paladin 20th level aura that you get, your transformation. The rules in the book says you can use this transformation once and regain a use of it when you finish a long rest, or if you spend a 5th level spell slot. Well, in that instance, the only thing I actually have to change is you can use this feature once and you regain it when you finish a long rest, or you expend 5 mana. And you can't expend 5 mana as a paladin until you're at least 17th level, and that means that by the time you get this feature at 20th level, it's within curve of your abilities. So That's literally the only change I had to make to that subclass. And everything else is similar to that. We were just updating the Forsaken classes, the Paladin subclasses, but everything that was in the Forsaken subclasses were still good. It just needed to be updated. Like the 2014 Paladin had the Aura of Protection, and then it had these other auras. So it was like a stack of different types of auras, where the 2024 book simplified it and just made it one aura that you're just adding more and more effects onto that aura. So the 2014 rules just needed to have that text updated to, while you're within the Aura of Protection, X, Y, and Z happens. And me making changes to the channeling class feature as opposed to the Paladin's charisma bonus specifically. The problem that Paladins have, that all martials have, is the MAD, the multiple ability dependence. While the spellcasters typically only need one good stat, which is their casting stat. Like for wizards, that's intelligence. But them having good dexterity and constitution, actually it's intelligence, constitution, and then dexterity is your priorities. As intelligence to be able to crank up your spell DC, constitution to crank up your concentration saving throw, as well as your hit point pool, which is low because you're a caster, and then dexterity is your last primary, is the other secondary stat of value, because that increases your dexterity saving throws, which is a strong save, and your armor class, which is defense, a passive defense saving throw. So there's your priorities. But like for a paladin to go, you have to have a strength minimum to be able to wear types of armor and to wield weapons appropriately. You have your charisma modifier, which is your spellcasting DC, as well as all of the things that get triggered off of, while still also needing really good concentration, because you have to have the concentration saving throw, as well as additional hit points and dexterity for survivability, for armor class and dodge. That's 4 out of 6 stats that need to be good for a paladin to do, and it's overtaxing your ability point pool. So I can safely change a paladin to choosing either strength, wisdom, or charisma as their channeling stat. If they're just going to go martial, then they're just going to go into strength. And everything's just going to trigger off of strength anyway, and it's not going to be any worse than them just cranking up their charisma. In fact, they could afford to have the leg up. Because they have less raw power than full casters do. Although the martial power system gives them a ton of flexibility and significant amounts of mana, it's the Nova Burst capability that full casters have that keep full casters distinguished as a separate breed from the martials. It's useful to get all the martials to have less ability scores that they're dependent on. So we know that's balanced, because we already know that requiring multiple abilities to make your character function properly is worse than the single class acquirement that the spellcasters have. So that unto itself we know is balanced. So that's a safe change to make as well. From there, if we're inventing new class features, what we do is we compare the new idea to where they're at in their level, and what kind of spells would they be able to cast at that level, and how powerful is this class feature compared to that spell. And that will help set up, is this something we can do at will? Is this something we have to spend mana on? Is this something we can get ability modifier times per long or short rest? There's a few ways that you can mix the costs for the benefit that you grant. But you start the benefit with what is the most comparable class feature or spell that exists inside of the game that mechanically duplicates what I'm trying to do. Or feats. Feats are really unique as well. So between feats, features, and spells, you'll probably find something that's able to do roughly what it is that you're thinking about doing. And once you do, that just basically locks in, well, what level should I expect myself to be to have access to that sort of stuff if I was going about it through a spell, class feature, or a feat. And that sets up what your level is, which sets up what your mana cost would be, and how frequently you should be able to use it by scaffolding off of all the things that other classes and subclasses can do, if that makes sense. And if you're staying within the if you're not making up mechanics, if you're staying inside the fence of mechanics that exist inside of the game, you're just getting access to them in different ways. You know that the ability or the feature that you're offering is within the parameters of what's allowed in the 5e game engine. Then it's just a matter of how frequently can you do it and how effective is it on your character compared to the class that would normally have access to that thing that they could do. So there's a couple different dials and levers that you can pull to increase or decrease its efficiency, its potential efficiency as used for a character. Hopefully that explains things. Like, for example, we added on channel divinity. You can acquire additional uses of channel divinity as a paladin or as a cleric by expending 2 mana every time that you want to use your channel divinity feature. That's a second. 2 mana is equal to a second level spell, and almost everything that you can do as a second level spell is within curve of what you can do with channel divinity. And channel divinity doesn't generally scale up with your character level. Like, I mean, there might be like gain like ability score bonus, which will ratchet up over time, or like half your character level, or sometimes your entire character level, which obviously ramps linearly over time. But it's not like add more and more dice as you go, or like it's either going to be like everybody within X range, or every creature within range equal to your ability modifier, or a creature within range. Like, those are basically the 3 targeting gears that you have. Single target, a number of targets equal to ability modifier, or all targets within X feet. That's the only basically way that you target things. And obviously the more that you have, the more targets you can have, the more diluted or less the effect should be. Unless it's a strong effect, then it has to be at a higher level to compensate. Again, like mass suggestion. It's like what, like an 8th level spell or something like that, as opposed to Charm Monster, which is like, I think, a 6th level spell. So like mass suggestion, a shitload of creatures of low CR that are humanoid, or for a lower level, 1 unlimited power level creature, but there's only 1 of them. So ideas like that. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's and after doing this for, I mean, I've been doing design like this and getting paid to do it for 7 years now. So I think I'm getting pretty good at finding a balance point in there. I'm just saying, using those rules over time, you can generally find a good cadence that's going to be within the power curve that the wizards have already set. As long as you're staying within the scale of power that Wizards of the Coast had already created, you're always going to be safe. So I don't try to increase or step beyond what Wizards has already presented. I generally stay like numerically lower than what the cap could be, but then try to find interesting ways to get access to those things through different classes. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's get down to the end of sorcery. Wizards, here we go. Wizard modifications. Wizard subclasses, tradition of white magic, tradition of blue magic, the tradition of black magic, the tradition of red magic, and the tradition of green magic. Replace the 4 subclasses that, oh my god, look at all this shit down here. Oh, that's the Echo Knight. That's right, I did an Echo Knight. Oh, that's so fun. Let's add in the Forsaken Wizard subclasses. I did the Echo Knight because somebody asked for the Echo Knight. I'm not an Exandria fan in general, and I don't like Mercer's sense of balance. I don't think there is any. And I don't mind crapping on him as his design team, because that's punching up, and I think punching up is fine. But let's see. Oh, that's right. We wanted to take this Let's just grab another instance. That'll probably be faster. Catch up. There you are. Thank you. Too far, too fast. Scroll up a little bit more. I'm trying to get the fire so I can drop the Echo Knight in where it belongs. There we are, Barbarian. Should be Fighter. Down in Monk. We'll put Echo Knight at the very... Nah, we'll just put in the Forsaken classes. Let's just do that. Chevalier. There we go. There we go. Very good. Okay, cool. That's set. So now let's go here. Go back to the top. Let's go fetch classes. And it's the first tab, so let's go grab the wizard. And then here. Back to the previous page. We'll grab the old school wizards. Need more water. I can feel myself dehydrating. I need to go for a walk for groceries after this. So I've got about an hour left today. I see there's unfulfilled class features that I could probably take a few moments here to fill in. I gotta say though, this is by far more. This is much more majestic art for the wizard than what they had before. This guy is very much looking like Tibetan street merchant, while this is looking like master of arcane power. I like the change. I like the change. I gotta say, 2024 artwork. It's pretty fucking sweet a lot of times. It's a good looking book. Dismiss. Before I start diving into the Forsaken Wizard subclasses, let's make sure I've got everything that I need. Because I believe, yeah, I skipped a lot of... Well, I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot going on in here. Ritual Adept... I'm just gonna grab up all these things anyway. Since there's not a lot of features here to go over, Ritual Adept, it shouldn't be any harm including them. So let's just get through that, and then we'll be able to. Then we'll be better informed for diving into the subclasses. As per pH plus I do not want to duplicate all of the spellcasting language in there. It's basically unchanged. As for pH and color, mana, spell point, variant rules. Good enough. Here. Arcane Recovery. Thank you, Timely Timer. 1 hour to go. Is that level 1? Well, we're going to be doing this for the wizard, the cleric, and the bard. I think the druid is completely set. We're going to go through and make sure we have all the class features, but I think all the Forsaken druid class subclasses are already in there. So we're starting with wizard, and we've already finished the sorcerer. So we'll make sure the druid, then the cleric, then the bard will be done, and we already have the artificer taken care of. So that'll fully flesh out all 13 classes, which is about where I need to be. So yeah, this is panning out really nicely. You can regain some of your magical energy by studying your spell book. When you finish a short rest, you can choose. You can recover. So here's how it reads. When you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. The spell slots can have a combined level equal to no more than half your wizard level, rounded up, and none of the slots can be above level 6 or higher. For example, if you're a level 4 wizard, you can recover up to 2 levels worth of spell slots, regain either 1 level 2 spell slot or 2 level 1 spell slots. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. We can simplify all of that with our mana language. When you finish a short rest, you can regain a number of mana up to half your wizard level. You can use this feature. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. There you go. Very simple. When you finish a short rest, you can regain a number of mana up to half your wizard level. Round it up. Very simple. That's mostly what this system. That's mostly what this color mana system is doing. Is how to take the ideas that they already have in the book and rebuild them so that they work with a mana pool. Have a simple mana pool system. Have a simple point expenditure. 1 point per level of magic. So a first level spell costs 1. A 9th level spell costs 9. In my opinion, a 9th level spell should cost 9 times as much as a first level spell. In the DMG 2014, a first level spell costs 2 mana and a 9th level spell costs 13 mana. According to their logic, a 9th level spell is only 7.5 times more powerful. Sorry, only 6.5 times more powerful than a first level spell. And to me, I will forever shame the Wizards for this. I think that's really fucking stupid. And I think they made the system, I think they made mana dumb on purpose. So that it was confusing to follow and that it didn't make much sense, but it's what they did. So fuck it, let's just keep using spell slots. That's, I think, what they intended to do. Because otherwise, half of the audience that's playing 5e never played D&D until now. And every RPG they've ever played has a mana pool. So they'd be like, why the fuck are we wasting our time with spell slots? Mana is so much more efficient. And look, it's only 1 point per spell point. It's only 1 spell point per level. Why aren't we using a mana pool? So that's where my approach came from. Because that's the question I've been asking for decades. So this is a love letter to my own sensibilities as well. Take it for what it's worth. Scholar. Let's grab that up. Level 2 Scholar. How's this go? That feels so wrong. Let's do this. There, good. While studying magic, you also specialize in another field of study. Choose one of the following skills in which you have proficiency. You have expertise in the chosen skill. I am good with that. That is actually level 2 Scholar. I think that makes a lot of sense, honestly. Five, memorize spell. There we go. Whenever you finish a short rest, you can study your spellbook and replace one of the level 1 plus wizard spells you have prepared for your spellcasting feature with another level 1 plus spell from the book. That I love that. I'm not changing anything about it. I'm just including this so that we don't have to flip between multiple documents while we're utilizing the playtest document. We're going to have to redux a lot of this because we can't just cut and paste whole swaths of the player's handbook and drop them into a DM's Guild product. But I'm modifying so much of the class features, I think I can get away with little things like this, especially if I reword everything a little bit. So some of this project is going to be me rewriting stuff just a little bit. Let's see. Spell Mastery, Epic Boon, Signature Spells. Supposed to be 20. And then level 19, Epic Boon. I see text. Give me a second. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's in Creative Commons, so I guess I can reprint it. I hadn't considered that. Huh. But yeah, it's in Creative Commons now. So all these base class features are there. None of the subclasses, like maybe one subclass per class is in there, but yeah, all these features are in Creative Commons now. That's a good point. So I can cut and paste them with abandon. So when I rebuild the book, I can actually list out every feature with all the modifications that we've made. You just made my day so much fucking better. Oh my god. Thank you, Fernando. I really appreciate you. I hadn't really thought about that. Thank you. That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome. All right, we're on point, guy. We are way the fuck on point now. Let's go to level 18, Spell Mastery. When you have achieved such mastery over certain spells that you can cast them at will. Choose a level 1 and a level 2 spell in your spell book that have a casting time of an action. You always have those spells prepared. You can cast them at their lowest level without expending a spell slot. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend a spell slot. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of those spells with an eligible spell of the same level from the book. Choose a level 1 and level 2 spell in your spell book that have a casting time of an action. You always have those spells prepared, and you can cast them at their lowest level without expending mana. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of those spells with an eligible spell of the same level. Okay, great, that's resolved. Hey, what's up? No, it's fine. It's honestly, I'm modifying so much of the classes that it's not a direct. I mean, individual features can be cut pasted, and it's within the Creative Commons, which is just anyone can use these. Go right ahead. There's no restrictions there, so I will not have any difficulties I'm not. Yeah, it's I'm operating well within curve. That's just I just didn't realize that. Choose 2 level 3 spells in your spellbook as your signature spells. You always have these spells prepared, and you can cast them, each of them once at level 3 without expending a spell slot. When you do so, you can't cast them this way again until you finish a short or long rest. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend a spell slot. Cool. Choose 2 level 3 spells in your spellbook as your signature spells. You always have these spells prepared, and you can cast each of them once at level 3 without expending mana. When you do so, you can't cast them this way again until you finish a short or long rest. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. Bam, done. Bougie. All right, that's good. Oh, I love this shit. Hiccup. Hick 'em up. Hick 'em up. These traditions of white, blue, black, red, green magic replaced the schools of magic that they had as subclasses in the player's handbook already. The ascended classes, the chosen few, the blessed 4. We're giving you 5 because 5 colors. That allows us to then move on to the Forsaken classes, and we have finally arrived where we intended to be tonight. Folks, we are now working on Wizard subclasses. Fuck, I'm excited. Give me a second. I'm just gonna grab this chunk here. And I think I need to spool I suspect I'm going to end up needing to do something like this for at least some of them. See, like none of these traditions have a specific spell assigned to them as subclasses like a lot of them do. Let's look at the 2024 Diviner. Choose 2 wizard spells from the divination school, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spellbook for free. In addition, whenever you gain access to a new level of spell slots in this class, you can add 1 wizard spell from the divination school to your spellbook for free. The chosen spell must be of a level for which you have spell slots. So basically, this stacks across 9 levels, right? 1, 3, 5, 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17. And then that caps out. And the way we have it built is choose 2 wizard spells, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spell book for free. These spells are devoted to blue magic for you in addition to their native colors. The cost and time spent on researching to devote a spell to blue mana is halved. In addition, whenever you gain access to a new level of spell in this class, you can add 1 additional wizard spell up to the max level spell you can cast as a wizard to your spell book this way for free. So this is allowing us to take any spell that is on the spell list, because again, we have here, I'll show you this. This is included with the document, and we've updated this for 2024. This is the 2024 spell color mana spell list for all the spells in the player's handbook. And so, like you can see here, for example, we're looking at a blue magic. So what this says is pick 2 spells at the 2nd level, add them to your spell list. These spells are devoted to blue magic for you in addition to the native colors. So if I'm playing a blue magic wizard, it means I'm probably going to want to spend a lot of blue magic, a lot of blue mana casting blue spells, because that's the kind of character that I built. Otherwise, I would have built a white, red, black, or green wizard if I wanted to stick with these. I mean, once we get into the Forsaken traditions, we'll have like, you know, the Blade Singer and you know, a bunch of like the Scripturist or whatever. We'll have a bunch of specialists. But for just general color assignments, I'm going to like looking again at the blue. Portent. Whenever you finish a long rest, you get Portent dice. because blue has all sorts of like card draw effects and stuff. That's what it's heavily known for, so that's what we're leaning into there. Magical awareness, when you expend blue mana to cast a spell. And here's the cool thing about this. Like if I were to cast, just to walk you through the mechanics real quick, a level 1 spell requires 1 point of mana. Any leveled spell requires a number of mana equal to the level of the spell. When you're using hard magic, as in, like, there's soft magic, which is I have a mana pool. I'm going to describe the spell as blue, but the mana pool is just a fluid point of pool. It's just a fluid pool of points I can spend on any spell anytime that I want. And I'm just going to describe that spell with the color that I'm casting with, or whatever native color it is. So if I were to, in this manner, say cast Bless, which is a white spell, if I'm using the soft magic system, then if I have a point of mana, doesn't matter, it's just a pool of mana points. I'll spend 1, I'll cast Bless, and I'll describe it as a white magical radiance, like showers upon all my allies, or whatever language I want to use there. But if I'm using a hard magic system, using hard magic for color, if I want to cast Bless, I have to have white mana in my mana pool. And if the kind of character, like let's say I'm playing a Rakdos character, Rakdos is devoted to black and red magic. There is no white in Rakdos pool. So I can't cast Bless because Bless is a white spell. That's a pickle. So I could either then research that spell to become black or red, and now I permanently have that spell available to me in that color because I've invested my time to modify the magic in that effect to use the colors that I want. Or when I'm preparing spells, I could prepare Bless twice. Once as white, naturally, and then I could prepare it again, eating up a second spell slot to prepare to make it either black or white, whatever one I want, or green or blue, whatever suits my fancy. So that's a way for you to temporarily get any spell that you want into your hard magic list, and then have a reason to take downtime to research and spend gold and time in an ongoing campaign, so that over time you can sculpt your spells, your spell list into the colors that you specifically want, so your mana pool becomes more efficient within the colors that you've chosen for yourself. Or you could choose an open, like a Dominaria system, where you can have all 5 colors, and you could still research all spells to be blue if you want. But in the meantime, a white spell, I'll just make sure I have a couple points of white in my pool, because in a Dominaria game, my colors aren't defining my allegiance. Or rather, my allegiance I don't have an allegiance that defines colors. Ravnica and Strixhaven do. So does Theros to an extent. Theros is technically an open magic system, but your devotion to a god gives you piety points, which ramps you, which gives you more and more access to color stuff that falls within the colors of that god. It's like Eros is white and red. If you gain more and more ranks of piety with that god, you'll get more and more stuff you can do with white and red mana, as opposed to blue, green, or black, which you could also use. But since you're showing so much devotion to Eronus, then you're going to have that white and red. You're going to lean towards white and red. So, but that's the MTG Theros piety system, as opposed to the Strixhaven college credits or the Ravnica guild renown. But they're all the same mechanic, labeled differently, that give different types of benefits. So you could technically be a planeswalker that went to Strixhaven, that's in allegiance with has a pact with one of the guilds in Ravnica, and follows a god in Theros. You could have all 3 of those things run at the same time if your campaign branches across all 3 of those campaign settings. You could have all of them. So the most changed? I don't think so. I think Paladins were changed the most. The mechanics for how Paladins work in general, like with Smite, the way that brutal strikes work with Barbarians, cunning strikes with the Rogue. I think those are the 3 classes that have gone through the most mechanical changes from 2014 to 2024. Yeah, I'd say so. Wizards didn't change very much at all, actually. I changed them a lot with the color mana system just because you don't have a diviner or a necromancer or whatever, because you don't have schools of magic anymore. You have colors of magic. So the 8 school subclasses don't matter anymore. It's only the 5 colors matter, and then all the other variants. I mean, I guess we could make a necromancer anyway, but it's basically just going to be that's just basically a type of black mana, black magic wizard, which I guess we could lean into, but that's not the focus of the project. So it seems kind of extraneous. But okay, but to finish the example that we're looking at here, if we were to go to, say, a 2nd level spell, right? Blur, it's both a blue and a green spell. It's 2 mana, so I have to spend 2 mana. If I'm using a hard magic system, I have to have at least one of those points has to be either blue or green. It doesn't matter which, but one of those, and then the other one could be like white or black. It could be two blue, or it could be a blue and a green. It could be green and red, green and black, blue and red, blue and black, blue, white, red, green, white. Doesn't matter. Anything like, as long as 1 point is blue and 1 point is green, and you spend 2 points total. So knowing that, so I could cast Blur. Let's change this up real quick. Like, for example, I could choose Enlarge. Enlarge is either blue, red, or green. So I could cast. Let's find a different one, just for the sake of this example. Flaming Sphere. That's a good one. Hold Person. That's a great one for a wizard. Hold Person, a white spell. So it's a 2nd level spell. It's only devoted to white. So if I'm going to cast this spell, I have to spend 1 point of white. So let's say I spend 1 point of white and I spend 1 point of blue. White, blue, 2 points. So here's how this class feature works. Magical Awareness. When you expend blue mana to cast a spell, the magical energy suffuses you with deeper awareness and understanding that lasts until you finish a long rest. Choose one of the following benefits: Dark Vision, Greater Comprehension, Hidden Knowledge. Whenever you expend blue mana to cast another spell, you can choose a new option. So if I cast Hold Person with 2 mana, 1 point white because I have to spend 1 point of white, and then the other point were blue because I used blue mana to cast Hold Person, that will trigger Magical Awareness, because it doesn't say when you cast a blue spell. It says when you expend blue mana to cast a spell. So everything about the blue, the blue's traditional blue magic is, what are you doing with your blue mana, and how are you grabbing hold of blue spells? So the blue Savant allows you to take any spell, like Hold Person could be a blue spell for you instead of white if it's one of your chosen Savant spells. I can now cast Hold Person as a blue spell. But regardless if it's blue or not, as long as I spend at least 1 point of blue mana while I'm casting that spell, I can trigger my Magical Awareness. Spellbreaker, you always have counter spell and dispel magic prepared. In addition, you can cast Dispel Magic as a bonus action, and you can add your proficiency bonus to the ability check when you expend only blue mana to cast either spell. So these are 3rd level spells, so you only need to spend 1 point of blue, and 2 points could be anything else. But if you only spend blue mana when you cast this spell, if the spell fails to stop a spell, the mana is returned to your mana pool. So that's already an abjurist feature that I took out of Abjuration, and because there is no School of Abjuration in the color mana system, all those class features from those subclasses got freed up, so I recombined them into different color traditions. So this is well within curve, and its general rule is when you cast the spell, if the check fails, you get that spell slot back. And so that would be just using generic mana. But this is assuming that if you're using soft magic and you are just casting, you have a pool of 40 points and they don't have to be specific colors. It's just, I cast this spell as a white spell. I cast this spell as a blue spell, blah. When you expend only blue mana, when you're using a soft magic system, you can just say, I have access to blue magic. I'm going to spend all 3 points. I'm going to call them blue. I can now use this feature. That's the same level of efficiency that's already in the player's handbook, because it says if you fail the check, you get the spell slot back, because there is no color devotion in the player's handbook. So in most circumstances, this mana system is more restricting than what the player's handbook is. So you can willingly say, we're going to go soft magic so we keep the same power curve in the player's handbook. Or, hey, we all agree that full casters really just kick the fuck out of everything. And we like the Magic the Gathering system. We're going to use a hard magic system, so it has to be blue mana that you're spending. So now you have more choices and consequences from how you can... The choices that you make about how you expend mana impact your character's performance. And it has a significant effect on it. So it restricts your raw power down to, well, I have infinite power, but what am I specifically focusing on right now? So that's how that works. Greater portent. And so we had the original portent feature, which was you can roll a d20. And when you get a long rest, when you finish a long rest, you get 2 dice, and you can use them, and they get refreshed when you finish a long rest. At level 14, you now roll 3 20-sided. You now get 3 20-sided dice for free. And whenever you expend 2 blue mana, you can re-roll any result. So you're basically plinking out 2 points, just like Channel of Divinity. You're plinking out 2 points of mana at a time to get a re-roll, because re-rolling a die is generally worth 1 or 2 points of mana. Since it's open-ended and you can basically do it forever and you already get dice for free, we made it 2 points because 1 point would be too generous. So that's how we balance a lot of these things. That doesn't feel any worse than what a Channel of Divinity feature would be. And Channel of Divinity, you can regain use of them every time you spend 2 points of mana, and there's no action involved with it. So this is the same way. Spend a die, spend 2 mana, get another die back. It might be a shitty die, so you then spend 2 more mana to reroll it. So you could burn your entire mana pool just trying to get a d20 result above 10, which can happen because law of big numbers, you're going to have big swings occasionally. So you could be rolling a d20 that day and none of your portent dice come up below 15. That's an awesome day. But the bad dice are as good as the good dice. Just look at it again. You or a creature that you can see with one of these results. So bad dice are just as good as good dice. Bad dice curse people. Good dice bless people. And you're using your blue mana to make those selections, which is a very blue thing to do in a Magic the Gathering deck. Do I want you to use this spell? Do I want you to discard your hand? Do I want to draw new cards? These are all blue concepts, which generally in D&D translate into rolling or replacing or adding d20 die rolls and taking your best result or swapping out the result. Like that, like so many MTG cards translate into that d20 flavor so well. And blue has a ton of those card effects, more than anyone else. So it's blue appropriate. But that's just one example. I mean, we could go through all of these, or you can go back into the playlist and look at when I was playing with the original color mana lists for the wizard. So having chewed through all that and all of this explanation and exposition, we're now getting into the good bits. So now we're going to actually start grinding. So I'm really interested to see how this shit shakes out. Blade Singing, Order of the Scribes. Oh boy, there sure aren't a lot of them, are there? Okay, so we have. Let's do this. Tradition of Blade Singing. Tradition of Scribes. Tradition of War Magic. Yeah, so there's not a lot of these. How are we doing on time? 8:13. I've only got 10 minutes left today. Oh man, I'm gonna do blade singing, and then we'll tomorrow at lunch. Tuesdays I do game design, so tomorrow at lunch we'll do scribes and war magic. So, staying on course. Blade singing. Let's see what we do. Okay, training in war and song. Training in war and song. Nope. You gain proficiency with light armor, and you gain proficiency with one type of one-handed melee weapon of your choice. You also gain proficiency in the performance skill if you don't already have it. Wait a second. Didn't they have Blade Singer in a UA? Unearthed Arcana, they have it listed. Nice work, guys. Nice work. So let's go take a look at it, shan't we? There we go. Let's see what you guys did and how we're gonna do it. Blade Song. I like that title change right away. I think that's much better. Blade Song. Woo, look at that block of text. This next one. Training in war and song. All right, first let's look at this. As a bonus action, you invoke an elven magic called Blade Song, provided you aren't wearing. While you aren't wearing armor or using a shield. As a bonus action, while you aren't wearing armor or shield, you invoke the Blade Song. That lasts. Get out of here, NVIDIA. No, it's Adobe. Fuck off even more. Lasts for 1 minute. And it ends early if you have the incapacitated condition, or if you don armor or a shield, or if you use 2 hands to make an attack with a weapon. 3, you can dismiss. The blade's on any time, no action required. One, two, three. While the blade's on is active, you gain the following benefits. You You focus based on the number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, equal to, your intelligence modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You can gain and you can regain 1 use when you expend 2 mana, period. Agility. Once you while the martial classes have multiple ability modifiers that they can be dependent on, the wizard is still generally forced. It focuses on intelligence. Druid and cleric still stay focused in wisdom, and bard and sorcerer still stay focused in charisma. But the martial, the other half, have multiple abilities that they need to be able to make their martial stuff work. So they have multiple ability scores they can choose from to channel powers and to cast spells through. You get a bonus to your armor class equal to your intelligence modifier, and your speed increases by 10 feet. Whenever you attack with a weapon with which you have proficiency, you can use your intelligence modifier for the attack and damage rolls instead of using strength or dexterity. And focus. When you make a constitution saving throw to maintain concentration, you can add your intelligence modifier to the total. When you make a constitution saving throw to maintain concentration as a result of taking to maintain concentration after when you make a constitution saving throw to maintain concentration when you take damage. That's the way to use it. When you make a constitution saving throw to maintain concentration due to taking damage. It's important to stay. Okay, that's really important to include because with the variant concentration mechanics that we use, you make a constitution. You make a concentration saving throw. We're reading it different. Sorry. You maintain concentration every time you take damage, which is a constitution saving throw, or any time you make a saving throw at all, whether it's a strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Anytime you make a saving throw at all, you measure the result of your saving throw against the DC of concentration. When you take damage, it's going to be half the number of hit points of damage that you've taken, or 10 plus the level of spells that you're maintaining concentration on. So if you're maintaining 6 levels of concentration, like say with a 6th level spell or 2 3rd level spells, the concentration DC is a blanket 16. So, or if I take more than 33 points of damage, it'll be a 17 or more. But assuming that it's, say you take 6 points of damage. You take 6 points of damage. The saving throw would, the damage is only a DC of 3, but the baseline saving throw is 16. So when I make my saving throw, I took damage. I'm going to make a Constitution saving throw, And if I don't hit at least a 16 because I'm maintaining concentration on a 6th level spell, I lose that 6th level spell. But I can also cast, my mana pool allows me to cast multiple 6th level spells. So if I lose it, I'm just gonna eat another 6 mana out of my mana pool. And it's that heightened level of difficulty with concentration that allows you to whittle down a mana pool, or allows you to have a thick mana pool, because it's going to get whittled down, because all the really fucking cool stuff in the game requires concentration. And concentration becomes incredibly fragile when you're using this variant concentration system. So as another compensation, you can stack concentration effects. The more spells you stack up to your maximum spell level limit. So like if you're 13th level, you can have up to 7th level spells. That means that you can maintain concentration on 7 levels worth of spells at once for DC 17, which is going to suck because the DM is encouraged to rotate between what type of saving throws you need, or to have saving throws themed around different types of enemies. Like Kobold Mooks might require you, might have a bunch of trip tactics that require you to make dexterity saving throws, coupled with an Ogre that has SWAT effects that would force you to make strength saving throws to not get knocked prone. If your full caster gets caught out and has both goblins and an ogre on them, they're going to be making dexterity and strength saving throws. And if that wizard is maintaining a 7th level spell, or let's say your cleric is maintaining a 5th level spirit guardian spell, dealing area of effect damage to everybody and just basically being a Cuisinart, as soon as you get swatted by that ogre, you now have to make a strength saving throw DC 15. And if you fail that check, your spirit guardians just went down. You're dealing no damage, and you're gonna have to spend your action next round to get that spell up and running again. Even worse, what if you were maintaining haste on 3 of your allies at 17th level, sustaining 9 levels of spells? Well, if you want to haste 3 allies, that would also be a 5th level spell, because you could tack on the first one's at 3rd, and then a second person at 4th, and the third person at 5th. So a 5th level spell slot there, you have 3 people hasted. If you fail your charisma as a wizard, you fail your charisma saving throw DC when you get blighted by a rock. For instance, a fucking little blight spell, he dings you, and now the DC is 15. You fail your charisma saving throw. You lose concentration on all 3 haste spells, and now all 3 of those allies are stunned until the beginning of their next turn. It's like, oh. So the amount of power that you get from spell points is balanced by the fact that they're all really fragile, and they eat your action economy to rebuild during combat. Or your team has to be very tactical about what risks they're putting their full casters at, because they know their concentration DCs are so fragile. I could ding you with a Ray of Frost from 90 feet away as a cantrip and force you to make a dexterity saving throw DC 16, or have your movement speed halved next turn. Who cares? Well, my 8th level spell I was maintaining concentration on just got scrapped because I couldn't hit the DC 18, even though I hit the DC 16 dexterity saving throw. It wasn't an 18, so I passed the stupid Ray of Frost. I'm not slowed, but I didn't hit an 18, so I just lost my 8th level spell. It's a really fun balancing system that is just brutal on full casters. And honestly, full casters have been getting a free ride from Wizards of the Coast for the past 10 years. They need to get slapped down a little bit. And they've had so many restrictions taken away from them. I honestly think this is a really fun way to rebalance that. So I'm rambling and pontificating, but don't mind me. I love what this is. So let's look at the tradition of War and Song. Training in War and Song. You gain proficiency with all melee weapons. I like that. That's better already. Training in War and Song. You gain proficiency in all melee weapons that don't have the two-handed or heavy property. You can use the only weapon with which you have proficiency as a spellcasting focus for your wizard spells. You also gain proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: acrobatics, athletics, performance, or persuasion. Love it. Doesn't look like you get any magic spells, though. I'm probably not being short turn. Let's keep moving on. Level 6, extra attack. I feel kind of sad that they don't get bonus spells. I've been doing basically every subclass I've been building gets some sort of bonus spells. This is the first one I've encountered that doesn't, so I'm going to have to mull that over. Whenever you take the attack action on your turn, moreover, you can cast one of the wizard cantrips that you have a casting time of an action in place of one of those attacks. Alternatively, I'm going to say alternatively, you can cast one of your wizard cantrips that has a casting time of an action in place of those attacks. Let's take a look real quick at the 2024 Blade Ward. I'm sorry, True Strike. I think that's a bonus action. Oh, it's one action. Ouch. Okay. Guided by a flash of magical insight, you can make one attack with the weapon used. With the weapon used in the spell's casting, the attack uses your spellcasting ability for the attack and damage rolls instead of using strength or dexterity. If the attack deals damage, it can be radiant damage or the weapon's normal damage type, your choice. Cantrip. When you deal radiant damage or the weapon's normal damage type, the attack deals extra d6. The attack deals extra radiant damage when you reach level 5, 11, and 17. That's not broken even in the least bit. Not even in the least bit. I'm fine. I'm okay with the extra 3d6 as bonus damage on a cantrip. Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's really sweet. I like that. Has to be an action, so that feels pretty cool. Let's go with level 10. What do we get? What do we get in level 10? Song of Defense. When you take damage with while your blade song is active, you can take a reaction to expend and reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to 5 times the spell slot's level. You can expend mana to reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to 5 times the amount of mana expended. Period. You can reaction to expend mana up to your max channel limit gained as a wizard to reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to 5. That's important because you can multi-class into other classes and still get up to 9th level spell slots at 17th level. This is going to require you to stay single class by adding the statement that says you can expend mana up to the max channel limit gained as a wizard. So if I took 11 levels of wizard and 9 levels of druid, I'd be able to cast 6th level spells as a wizard and 5th level spells as a druid, and still be able to cast as a 17th level caster. I'd still have 9th level spell slots, but I only gained 11 of them through the wizard. Using this approach, that 11th level wizard, even though I might hit 20th level, I'm still only 11th level. I can at best cap at 6th level spell slots gained as a wizard. So that means that I can expend up to 6 points of mana on Song of Defense, reducing damage by up to 30 hit points if I do, as opposed to the more fluid version, because spell slots, they don't break up spell slots like this. They don't think about what level have I gained in a certain class versus another class. They think about that for like what spell levels can you prepare. But as far as the spell slots are concerned, that's not an issue. By parsing out spell points this way, we can actually be very specific, tying your max your max casting your max spell max spell limit. Sorry, it's not max channel limit. That I've been thinking channel, like for doing stuff like this for like Ranger and Paladin, etc. Max spell level, yeah, gained as a wizard. There you go. And then level 14. These things are so easy to build. Song of Victory. After you cast a spell that has a casting time of an action, you can make one attack with a weapon as a bonus action. Okay. Nope. That was easy. And that's where we're going to put our brakes on for the night. We'll work out the order of scribes and the tradition of war magic. We'll do those tomorrow at lunch. Which will probably be like around 2 o'clock. I think it's going to be around 2 o'clock tomorrow. It's typically when I take my lunch break. So we'll do that. So Blade Singer looks good. Super happy with it. I'm sure Order of Scribes and Traditional War Magic are going to be a lot of fun to do as well. I'm seriously considering adding 10 spells because these features really aren't that much of a shit for... Like, the wizard doesn't really gain that much from this stuff, so I'm thinking about stacking on a bunch of combat-type spells to really juice up their selection, to give them, like, a kit of, like, just default combat spells that they should have. But I'm not going to go through that process until we've done all the features for the Scribe and for the War Magic. Then we'll come back through, and we'll build out the distinct lists, and we'll probably do that on Thursday. So we've set the Bastion campaign down for the time being because the first draft of all the mechanics are done. I'm letting them percolate and playing around with ideas with that to make sure that everything sits pretty for me before we move on to phase 2, which is flesh out the writing to it to get it into an editor's hand. Sometimes I hire a writer after I built out the mechanics. Sometimes I'll hire a writer to add all that connective tissue and create examples with, for example. Example. But yeah, so since that's through its first draft, I'm going to set it down and we pick up something else for the time being. Just like we did with the Spelljammer subclasses, just like we did with the Mecha Kaiju book that we've been working on, just like we did with Martial Powers when we got to a stopping point and started playtesting that some. Anyway, I like this. I think we're going to add in spell selections eventually. We'll get there. All right, that's it for now, guys. I'm going to bounce. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning to do more Eberron art. I'm super excited about doing more Eberron art. And I got to go to the grocery store. So I'm going to get out of here, and I will catch everybody in the morning. So those that hang, thanks a lot for being here. And if you're new to the channel, you think this shit's cool, I'm here 9 times per week. Like, subscribe, bell icons, check out my books, my community, my Patreon, and the playlist down below, and this document, which is available for everyone to look at right now. You can start using all this shit in your campaign. Today, I recommend Strixhaven. I'll see you guys on the other side. Laters.